for joining me again for one of our webinars, our podcast, whatever you want to call it. And I started this series called Selling and Afraid about a week or so ago. And the goal is not for sellers to be afraid. What I want sellers to be not fearful, to not fear selling on Amazon, to sell in confidence that if you have certain problems, we can help you and that you can get past the problems that Amazon poses to you. Amazon gives you fantastic opportunities. You just need to know you can get past the obstacles. So for today's Selling and Afraid, I want you to stop living in fear of Amazon suspensions. And the first thing we're going to talk about is what we do around here. We help people with non-legal suspensions. We do a complete analysis. We use our entire legal education, our experience, how we have trained our paralegals and our analysts, and we deal with non-legal suspensions, but we look at it from a legal perspective, and we draft plans of action for sellers all over the world to get sellers' accounts reinstated and to get your ASINs back. Now, we also help sellers all over the world with intellectual property suspensions, whether it's an ASIN or whether it's your account or you lost the ability to sell an entire brand. The vast majority of intellectual property complaints or rights owner complaints that are made against sellers are entirely baseless. In the United States, you have what's called the first sale doctrine, where you can basically buy and sell anything you want. You can buy it at Kohl's and resell it. And I don't care if you got one of those letters, call us, we can help you. As long as you're delivering to the customer something that is materially the same as the brand, you're probably not violating anybody's intellectual property rights. So we deal with IP suspensions day in and day out. And as sellers go into private label brands, as you develop an asset, a brand that you own, we also can help you protect your brand and protect your intellectual property rights. And I think most importantly, we help sellers help themselves. If you read our reviews, we have probably close to 600 reviews now. You will see review after review, dozen after dozen of reviews, where we simply help sellers help yourselves. And I'm a big believer in paying it forward, and that's what I try and do. We help sellers help themselves. Okay, do not fear inauthentic suspensions, okay? It is the #1 cause of a suspension, whether it's your entire account or it is just your best-selling product or any ASIN. But don't fear the inauthentic suspensions, okay? Now, Amazon issues come in waves. And for a while, retail receipts were very difficult to use, but now we're having success with them. And here's what you should not fear. Do not fear using your own receipts, okay? Do not fear using the receipts. If you're doing RA, if you're doing retail arbitrage, we think you should start expanding into developing your own brand or getting distribution agreements. It's the wave of the future. But if that's all you have, if you're purchasing it through RA, don't fear using your own receipts. They are real. They're not fake. You're not going to get knocked out with a document manipulation or a forged document. So don't fear using your own receipts. Don't fear using your own invoices. Now, we have done plenty of presentations. I've spoke to sellers all over the world as to what you should look for on an invoice, but you have what you have. Don't fear using your real invoices. Don't make fake ones up. Use the real invoices that you obtained when you sourced your products. Now, often you sort of need to beef up the proof of where you purchased your products, or proof of where you sourced your products. Don't fear using your credit card invoices, your credit card receipts. If you're buying it on Amex or using an airline credit card to build up your miles, or you are a huge The Points Guy fan like I am, and everything you want to do, you want to get points for, use your credit card statements. They're real, okay? So don't use fake documents. Don't fear using your own emails. Oftentimes, there's an email chain of wherever you're sourcing your products from, and you can use those emails to substantiate where you sourced your products from. So stop living in fear. You can't give what you don't have, but you can give Amazon what you do have. Use your real receipts, use your real invoices, use your credit card receipts, use the emails. Now, if you need to reach out to your distributor, if you need to reach out to your supplier and ask them to reissue you an invoice, don't fear doing that either. The distributors, they know that you're selling on Amazon. They know that Amazon often wants to see your invoices. And if you need to reach out to them and say, hey, I need you to reissue an invoice, I need it to have the name of the product, the size, the color, the quantity. You want to have a price that seems reasonable. You want to show a number of units that matches somewhat to what you've been selling, what you have at FBA. But don't fear. Reach out to your distributors and say, hey, listen, could you reissue the invoice with more information? And make sure it matches your seller's account exactly. The same email address, same physical address, phone number. Everything should be exactly the same, matches your Amazon account. Okay? Don't fear using real documents. And for God's sake, don't use Photoshop. Okay? Amazon is catching sellers left and right all over the United States, all over the world, using Photoshop to alter their invoices. Don't do it, okay? There's no reason to risk getting caught. I don't know how great some of you are on Photoshop or how basic or how elementary your knowledge is, but don't use Photoshop. Don't put yourself in a position of taking a simple, inauthentic suspension and turn it into a manipulated document suspension. Okay, just don't do it. Use what you have. We can help you. We can handle it for you, or we can hold your hand and teach you how to do it yourself. So don't fear inauthentic suspensions anymore. Now, last week or so, I talked to you about the 24-hour and 48-hour notice. Amazon sends you an email to give us a plan of action 24 hours, give us a plan of action in 48 hours or 24 hours. And people were very, very fearful. Me and my team were working insanely long hours to bang these out. But we have now been retained by sellers who've already blown the 24 hours, who've already blown the 48 hours, and we reviewed their account. We drafted plans of action. We've given those plans of action to sellers. And guess what? Amazon accepted them and sellers have been reinstated. So do not fear if you receive that notice. It's not a drop dead. We've seen it be successful after the 24 hours have passed. So if you receive it, don't stress out. I personally think it is better to take a step back, get your invoices together, get your receipts together, get the emails together on an Inauthentic, and go ahead and submit a better, concise, persuasive plan of action with invoices that don't have problems, with invoices that match your account, rather than jump through a million hoops, frantically trying to make the 24 hours. So that's my opinion. So I don't think sellers should fear this 24-hour notice. We've seen them reinstate sellers past those 24 hours, okay? So take a deep breath, don't stress, keep your eye on the long haul of your sellers as an entire business together, and just want sellers to know, don't fear that 24-hour notice. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about, court orders and TROs, okay? More and more, what brands are doing, specifically out of the Northern District of Illinois, which is the courthouse is located right there in downtown Chicago. I'm admitted in that courthouse, and we can defend you there. But what's going on are brands are going after sellers directly. Brands don't want to poke the bear that Amazon is either. So they're going to court, and they're filing cases against John Doe 1 to 100 or John Doe 1 to 300. Then they're going to Amazon, and they're asking for the identity of those sellers. And then they're issuing TROs or getting the court to issue temporary restraining orders to freeze your account, to freeze your money. And they go after everything. They go after PayPal, Payoneer, WorldDocs, Currency, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, eCrater, Bonanza. They look to freeze everything that you have. And when the platform receives that order, they have no choice, okay? It's not an Amazon issue. Once the court orders something frozen, they're going to freeze it. Now, the reason why I tell you not to fear it is because many of these lawyers and many of these brands are very open to working out resolutions where you can settle with them, okay? We settle with multiple lawyers, dozens of sellers who were sued and received TROs out of the Northern District of Illinois. We have also settled for sellers who were sued in the Southern District of New York. And those are the two hotbeds of the cases. So if you get served with an email, if you receive, not served, if you received an email that they have frozen your account because there's been an order issued by the court, don't freak out. Give us a call. Many of these litigations were already involved in helping sellers getting their accounts and their money unfrozen, and settlements happen in every case, okay? So if you get that email, don't be fearful that your life is not over, your selling is not over. Reach out to us. Depending on which brand and which law firm, we'll kind of know which ones are going to be easier to resolve and which ones are going to be more difficult. But practically every litigation settles, and these settle as well. So in terms of our, selling and afraid, Don't be afraid. Now, this is great, okay? I love this because it is often scam buyers who are causing baseless suspensions, okay? Nonsense complaints that your products aren't genuine, nonsense complaints that they didn't show up, nonsense complaints that they're showing up late. There are tons and tons of consumers out there who are just pulling scams because they know as an Amazon seller, you're going to give them their money back. You're going to tell them to keep the product for free. You're going to send them extra products. And I tell you, I'm in favor of all of that stuff. I'm in favor of letting a buyer get over on you to preserve your account. But what is good news for sellers is that buyers are now being suspended. Now, there's always been a trickle, but I can tell you just today, we received 4 different calls from buyers who were suspended. They're not allowed to buy on Amazon anymore. And I just thought you guys need to know about that buyers are now being suspended. Now, is this indicative of Amazon being a little bit more careful about buyer complaints and possibly weeding through the complaints and identifying ones that are just absolutely purely bullshit? I don't know. I don't know if it is, but I think sellers need to know that buyers are being suspended for making absolutely baseless complaints that they didn't receive the products when they did, and just 4 in one day. So we used to get, maybe 1 or 2 a week. We got 4 today. So you need to know this. I think this is good news for sellers. I hope it's indicative of Amazon, monitoring or policing some of these complaints. And I think that's really good news for sellers. It's another reason that you should not live in fear. Okay, I talked about this before. If you have lost 10 reviews or 1,000 reviews, and all of your reviews are organic, okay, you didn't use any click farms, you didn't have friends and family or Facebook, and you are 100% certain that your reviews are 100% organic and clean, please call me. Please email me. We are looking for these cases that we can go after Amazon through the arbitration procedure to get you these reviews back. Reviews mean sales. Reviews mean the buy box. So if you are a clean seller, okay, and your reviews have been suppressed and it's absolute nonsense, please get in touch. Okay, now I also want to address something that my daughter asked me to do, okay, and she said I should tell you, and Samantha, I hope you're watching this video. She said you should smash the like button, smash the share button, and share these videos. So Sam, I did it. I feel like a bit of an idiot that I'm raising my arms and screaming and yelling, but please, if you like this video, if you are learning anything from these videos, let me know about it. Let me know if you like this. I usually do a lot of breaking news, but I started selling and afraid because I know sellers all over the world live in fear, and you don't need to. There are many ways to skin every single cat. So don't live in fear. Keep your wits about you, and we can help you recoup your selling privilege and recoup your ASIN. So, okay, now coming up, massive, major, inspirational, educational events. Ecom Chicago in Chicago on October 18th to October 20th is going to be a fantastic event for sellers all over the country. It's located in a very centralized location, and it's just going to be terrific. There are going to be some breakout sessions before the event starts, and there's going to be fantastic educational opportunities October 18th to the 20th in Chicago. Also in Hong Kong in October, if you're starting to step out and you are developing your own private label brand, or you've already developed a private label brand, and now you got to source and you want to start sourcing in China, there is no better place to start than Global Sources in Hong Kong. I've spoken there for the last 4 years or so. I'm not speaking, but I'm going to be there supporting sellers, supporting private label sellers all over the world. It is a great community. There are great speakers, and the sourcing is very similar to ASD in Las Vegas, where you can source right in the same building at the exposition center, right at the airport. And it's going to be just massive numbers of Chinese factories right there in the same building. So it is a really terrific event in October. Empire Flippers is the #1, as far as I am concerned, the #1 business broker for online businesses, whether it's an Amazon-based business, eBay, Etsy, website, whatever it is. And they're having a retreat in Phuket in Thailand in September. I believe it starts September 6th. And it's just going to be $1 million sellers, top guys in the industry. And I can't recommend Empire Flippers if you want to sell your business, or the Empire Retreat if you're looking to learn in a really, really intimate setting and in a fantastic location. I can't wait to check out Phuket. If you are in the UK or if you're anywhere in Europe, okay, e-commerce show North in Manchester on November 6th and 7th. It's really going to be fantastic. And in the UK and Europe, Amazon does not have the stranglehold on online sales like they do in the US. So if you want to diversify, if you want to expand, and you want to go all over Europe, if you're a domestic seller, if you're a US seller, I highly recommend this event. You're going to learn how to sell in Europe, and there's multiple platforms out there. So it really is a great way for sellers to diversify, and I can't recommend an event in Europe as highly as anything else other than e-commerce show North. It's really going to be a fantastic event. In Las Vegas, October 9th to 11th, Retail Global. Retail Global has 2 shows a year, one in Las Vegas and one in the Gold Coast, Australia. What's really special about Retail Global is they have multiple tracks. I think there's 5 tracks in Vegas. There were 7 different tracks in Australia. It was really fantastic. I was going from track to track, running back and forth, and you can go for what you really need help with, whether it's listings, marketing, SEO, suspensions, IP issues. It's really just fantastic because you can really learn a lot in just a couple of short days and hit the track specifically that you need to learn on. So I am a huge fan of Retail Global. It'll be in Las Vegas, October 9th to 11th. And if you're a domestic seller, this is the event to go to. Really small, intimate classes, multiple tracks, and just fantastic sellers. So that is today's Selling and Afraid. I hope you guys are okay with the name. And I always end not by pumping our services, but by promoting this charity, the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. I was honored to be a guest at this weekend's Mess Fest in Mahopac, New York, where money was raised to benefit better treatments for pediatric cancer and trying to find a cure for pediatric cancer. I mean, if you just think about the loss of productivity for every child lost, forget about the pain and suffering, which is god awful, but the productivity that our nation loses for every child that we lose to cancer, I mean, it's astronomical. Entire lives lost, entire decades of ideas and growth. So what I'm asking every single person to do, okay, in addition to liking and sharing this video, every single person, if you shop on Amazon, use the Amazon Smile program and pick the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation of your charity. It costs you absolutely nothing. And for every purchase, Amazon will donate a small portion of the sale to the charity. And every dollar adds up. Every single dollar adds up. And together we can raise tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to honor Ty, who is a buddy of mine's son, to honor Ty and to raise money to find better treatments and cures for pediatric cancers. So please, on all of our posts, we're starting to put the donation button, and Amazon Smiles cost you nothing. So please, Amazon Smiles, pick Ty's charity, and thank you very much. Share it, like it, donate to the charity, use Amazon Smiles, and thank you very much again for listening. Thank you.